Welcome to Play PSVR 2, the podcast. Alex, I can't believe they are still together because among all this crap. I can't believe they're together.
Me neither, after everything they've been through.
Yeah, all this crap and they're still together. How? I don't understand.
I mean, sometimes you just don't know what it's like on the other side without them, right? So you just got to stick with them, regardless of how bad it is. I know you're wanting me to ask, Adam, who the hell are you talking about?
My butt cheeks. Boom! And the crap I'm talking about is you, Alex. I'm starting off hot and heavy, airing
Wait,
agreements right now.
whoa. You're so surprised that your butt cheeks are still together after all of the me that's been through it?
That is a perverse way. No, the crap that I have to deal with because of you. I'm jumping into the airing of grievance right now. You are hot garbage. You suck so bad. I played Synapse. I finished Synapse. It is incredible. And you know what? I wanted to play this way earlier, but the reason I didn't is because you were like, it's good. But guess what, Alex? Let me pull up our list. Moss 2 was good. Transformers Beyond Reality was good. Cactus Cowboy 2, the one you pay for, was good. All the games you play are good, so I don't trust you. So, yeah, you were going to say Synapse was good. No, Synapse is great. You suck. Because of you, I didn't get to experience maybe. I'm just going to say it. I think it's the third best game on the system, only behind Resident Evil. It is a freaking blast. And I would even argue it's more fun than Resident Evil, but just unfortunately, Resident Evil is just, it's hard to surpass that big boy, right? But you are the reason I haven't played it. You are the reason I almost missed out on what I would argue one of the best, a must play experience on the PSVR 2. Now, everyone listening, they already know that, but I didn't know that because I can't trust you. What do you got to say for yourself, Jackal?
So, I say games are like good as in they're enjoyable. I believe many times I referenced Synapse said it was one of the best games you can play. I said it in multiple episodes, so I kept revisiting how good it was. I also said that it was the super hot of the PSVR 2, which we all know how good super hot was for PSVR 1. That's one of the classic games for PSVR 1. So that, like, I have so many signals that I can send. But the thing is, Adam, I can't trust you to appropriately evaluate a game because if it doesn't spoon feed you success, then you will just drop the game entirely. So I get worried. I get worried about a game that presents any kind of challenge to you.
You're like your mother's chest, flat. So you say Synapse is good. Okay. You say it the same way. When I'm excited, you can tell, okay, that boy's excited. That boy's upset. You say everything the same way. So I can't tell. You should have been like, it's so good. But you did. Now what I should have picked up on, and I will take a little bit of fault here, is that you essentially completed the game and you never do that. So the fact that you did should have maybe. What other game this year have you actually completed PSVR 2 wise?
I'm looking at our Arizona Sunshine, Moss Book 2, Moss Book 1, Red Matter 2, Garden of the Sea, Tentacular, Before Your Eyes, Arashi, Pixel Rib 1978,
okay, so that maybe I can't.
Budget Cuts.
Wait, you finished all those?
Yeah, these are all games that I mean. Some of these games, like I do think you have to finish them to give them a proper evaluation.
But don't play Resident Evil 4. You know.
Oh, and of course I played Resident Evil 8 all the way through. Yeah.
I hate you. Okay, so that's right off the bat. Do you want to go to Gamer Juice? I've got another airing of grievance, but we could do that later. Do you just want to? Do you want to rip it off? Okay. And I will apologize, and I will eat a bean if by the end of this episode I have not drank my Gamer Juice. It is white cucumber tea. The issue is I just boiled it. It's literally steaming. I can't drink it yet. I'm sure it's gonna be good, but I can't drink that. So
you like the white cucumber, huh? I have
I mean, it's
Lagunitas
white
Brewing,
tea that's like cucumber.
whatever it takes. Lagunitas Brewing Company, sponsors of NPR, I believe. But guess what? They're not a sponsor here, but my wife got me with this drink. Tiki Fusion Zombie Cocktail Inspired IPA. A hazy IPA with orange, lime, grapefruit, and allspice. And it's alcoholic. I have no idea what this is going to taste like.
What makes it zombie? Why? What's zombie in there?
I think it might be some kind of like racist thing to assume that something from like the tropics, like Haiti, is zombie or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
is there a shrunken head on the bottle too?
There's something like that, like a voodoo head or something.
Are you
like
serious?
that. Yeah,
Nice. That's hilarious.
it tastes all right. It's like sweeter than a normal beer. It's like a beer. What I will say, it smells like a fresh McDonald's cheeseburger for some reason, which
I
that's
don't
not
know
a
if that's
bad. Like,
necessarily a bad thing.
it's not a bad smell. It's a bit odd to have that coming up to my wafting into my nose when I'm about to take a drink of something. But I'll be honest, if it tasted like a fresh McDonald's cheeseburger, I probably wouldn't be upset about that either.
Here's what
Um,
will you do me a favor? Send me a text, or actually, I'll lose that. Write down what the name of that is. And
yeah,
next time we are together, we're going to play hamburger or beer. And I'm going to blindfold you and I'm going to put each item and we're going to do multiple rounds and see if you can tell the difference.
yeah. I'll put it in the notes right here of the show. Tiki Fusion Zombie Cocktail Inspired, and the zombie might be corporate zombie inspired.
It could be. And there's a corporate zombie inspired fan shout out, but we're
Yeah.
going to get to that in a minute. Or do you want to do fan shout outs and then go to the? I don't know if you have an airing a grievance, but my last one, whichever you'd prefer.
I can work up an airing grievance. Let's do the fan shoutouts. We need this roller coaster. We started angry. Let's get happy with the fan shoutouts, and we'll get angry again with the airing a grievance. How about that?
Also, if someone would agree with me and send us an email, contact at playpsvr.com, put it in YouTube, send us a Twitter DM or something. I'm not crazy, right? Alex sucks. He's totally undermined how good Synapse was, in my opinion. And now I'm angry. I would like to be justified.
Okay, listen. You need to have a bit more respect for the Play PSVR 2 all-time rankings. Me being the only person who has played Synapse forced Synapse to number 5 on our new rankings list.
Should be number 3. Should be 3. Dead.
But,
not even a. I mean, Gran Turismo is very good.
It would have been higher had you deigned to play it after my copious amounts of praise. It was only beaten by Resident Evil's Gran Turismo and Crossfire. And Crossfire, you would not have taken any of my word about Crossfire. I don't even know why you bought Crossfire, to be honest.
What was I going to play? Firewall? But seriously, it needs to be number 3. It's very good.
It's short, but like it's the most fun per minute.
I've gotten hours out of it. I bet I've got 10 hours in it.
I think I put in like 10 or 15 hours, something like that. It's
replayable. That's the beauty. It is replayable like none other. To sit there and play 3 hours would be pretty miserable, but to break it up at lunch, boom, go hit it. I'm waiting for guests to come over for the Super Bowl. Boom, go hit it. I open up my windows and play naked for the neighbors. Boom, go get it. It's awesome. I'm gonna keep it installed, and that should. It is an honor to be on my console and to use up my memory. That should mean more than anything because not many games get that.
Isn't it a shame? So I keep on talking about it. And the more you talk about it, the more I want to go back and play it because it's been long enough that I've kind of forgotten how great it feels to play. I remember the feeling. It's a shame that we're not going to get DLC. Like they launched it and they were like, "We're done. Like it's complete and it's good." Man, I would love a sequel. I would pay big bucks for a DLC. I want any more content from this. Like the engine is built. Please make a second one. It's so damn good.
I mean, all you have to do, keep the game exactly the same. Just have a couple new levels. That's all you need, and I'll buy it again. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna send them in dreams a email that just says, I bought it. Hey, I love it. Good job. Yep. Maybe that'll put them over the top and be like,
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to preemptively buy the sequel. I'm going to write them a check and send them $35 and just say, hey, just letting you know I'm buying the sequel right now. This is the money.
It's games like Synapse that make me feel bad for buying a game on discount. That's a $35 game. They deserve $35, and I didn't give them $35. I gave them 29 or something. I don't remember what it was, but most of the time you don't get that.
Yeah.
You can't assume it's that quality because you get stinkers. Anyhow, moving to the fan shoutouts, Nat Brat was just saying, "Hey, we need to play Walkabout again soon." Yes, we do. I still have Walkabout downloaded. I'm ready to play anytime anyone wants. Also, Natbrat, look at Twitter. Look at your DMs, dog. Sent you a message. You haven't even replied.
Adam sliding into Nat Brat's DMs on Twitter. J Brat, look out, man. Adam's coming for your girl.
That's right. Yeah, J Brat, will you tell her to look? You can look too, but I don't want you answering the question.
I heard that you DM Nat Brat, and she showed me the Twitter thing that you sent her, and I looked at it, I read it aloud, and all it said was,
"I'm a chugger,"
which I don't know if she knows what that means or anything like that. But you can't open up with girls with that as the opening line.
What?
It confuses them, Adam. Adam, next shout out. I don't get this one. This is at 210 Godwin. I finally understand Pokemon with some clapping emoji.
We were talking about Power World.
Yeah, I know that. Did you explain Pokemon? I don't get it.
Well, no, he probably understands why Pokemon is cool. You find these critters, you beat the living daylights out of them, you capture them, and then make them work for you. And then what I was describing, some of that was Power World, but the other aspects were very much Pokemon. So I enlightened this man or woman. I don't know who it is. Probably man, Godwin, or just as win. I don't know. Whoever you are, I enlightened you. I appreciated the comment. I live for people like you to praise me like you did. Thank you. Please comment again. Tell me how else I'm doing. Tell me that I convinced you to buy Synapse at full price because you would really owe me then.
I think I actually know this guy in real life. He commented on my Diablo 2 review like a year ago, which was 2 years after it came out, and just said absolute perfection, which I agree. It's a perfect
So
review.
How do you think you know this man?
I think I know this person personally, a fan of the show that's a fan of me and listens to the podcast.
That's not true. Is that your dad? It's his dad. Freaking loser.
Once again, Adam comes into the fray with a comment. A normal person when writing show notes would, if they're copying comments to put for somebody to read, they would just copy the text, right? YouTube it's just text, just copy and paste. Adam takes screenshots of it on his widescreen ass monitor and pastes it in to the
it's
to the
wide as your
portrait
mom's
mode
caboose.
To the portrait mode document, so I can't see a damn thing. Corporate Zombie, I'm going to try my best here. Maybe Corporate Zombie commented, maybe it's a different kind of fear, the fear of what you may
this
become.
Is also in respect to Resident Evil 4. We were talking in case you don't know, we were talking about in the comments on why you're such a freaking pansy and you refuse to play it. We came up with the conclusion that you started it and then you were too scared. And then this comes after that comment.
And he said, okay, it's a different kind of fear, a fear of what you may become. I killed about 30 villagers with a knife in the first 15 minutes of playing Resident Evil 4. For me, it was like the Rorschach prison scene in Watchmen. I'm not stuck in this village with a bunch of psychos. They are trapped here with me. I like the context. That's a good way of putting it. I do think, honestly, Corporate Zombie, that's a great point, is if the game had leaned into that a little bit and really highlighted the fact that like these were just people that were sick. They were sick with a virus, and you slaughtered and murdered all of them. They don't lean into that at all. They just let Leon Kennedy do his thing all the way to the end and just bounce off the island. A little bit of spoiler warning there, but you know what happens at the end.
I don't even know how you would know. You haven't played the game.
Oh, all right. All right, Adam. Yeah, I bet he dies at the end, right? That's why there's DLC. Okay.
I knew it. Here's the thing. That's a very good comment, Corporate Zombie. Thank you. Good way of thinking about it. I like games that kind of do that, right? Like they turn the tables on you. This game didn't do that, but Zombie did it for us. I don't think that's the reason. I think you really are just a pansy and you'd rather play a bunch of B-level games than one A-level game. Or
Adam, if I spent my time only playing Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 4, Gran Turismo 7, you wouldn't have me on this podcast to really push you into games like Synapse, to make you really,
You
really.
didn't do it. You didn't push me into Synapse. I had to
Why'd you?
wait 6 months, over 6 months for a freaking deal.
I
Jerk.
think you bought it at like $30, which might be the most you have paid for a game since the launch of the PSVR 2.
That can't be true. It can't be.
Name one game. Name one game that you
I
played.
did. I didn't look back at the list. I don't have the list pulled up. I don't. I'm moving to my next airing of grievance. Here's the thing. I like Final Fantasy. I play the Final Fantasy games, especially the newer ones. And the Rebirth demo came out. Very good. I like the demo. It's a good length, about 2 hours. Fun, gives you a highlight of what the game's going to be about. Interesting, is good. It was a good demo. I'm glad I played it. I wanted more of it. They're adding DLC, which is great. But then I read articles or an article that was like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth set a new gold standard for demos. And I never have wanted to grab someone's genitals and push it through their mouth more in my life. You, sir, clearly have not played the Resident Evil 8 demo. Alex, that was
7 demo. 7
was
demo.
it 7? The
Yeah,
one
7.
with the house?
PSVR 1, yeah, Resident
House.
Evil 7 demo.
House.
Sorry to interrupt. I want to get it right, yeah.
I think you are correct, though. Yeah, 8 was this last one. You're right. That Resident Evil 7 demo was so incredible. You jump in and you think it's going to be a 20-minute demo, right? A little VR, oh, it's scary, kind of like the kitchen demo. That puppy lasted me hours. There were so many built-in secrets and Easter eggs. I've never seen anything like it. It was better executed, well thought out than I would argue 97% of actual games. Alex, that just reminded me of how good that demo was. And one, I'm mad that people don't give it its due diligence, like they don't for VR in general, right? They give freaking the VR versions 9, the flat versions 10. Stupid. And then it also makes me sad. Maybe this individual didn't experience that, which is just, that's like not giving birth, right? You could go through a life without it, but it may not mean the same. That was probably a bad example. Men don't give. That was actually a horrible example.
The childless Adam talking about how great it is to give birth. Yeah, it's not a great example, but yeah, I know what you mean. No, you're right. That demo is crazy because Resident Evil 7 was already out. And so they made this VR demo that nobody had experienced in the flat mode, and it's a demo, it's a standalone demo. It exists outside of Resident Evil 7. If you play through all of Resident Evil 7, you never encounter what happens in that demo. So it adds context to the story.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. You're right.
It's like an excellent preview, but the real nice thing is that because of the complexity of the demo, for those who don't know the Resident Evil 7 demo, you go to a house that you do visit in the original game, but you're trying to find the footage that was lost from the actual game, and it's like a prequel-ish or something like that. I don't know how to describe it perfectly, but if you play through it just normally, it's like a 15-minute demo, and you say, yeah, VR is pretty cool. But then you find out that there's hidden stuff all over the place. And I played through the demo, and I thought, cool, 15 minutes, get in, get out, whatever, you die at the end, who cares? Then I found out, oh no, there's a basement, and there's coins you gotta find, and those coins pass on to the actual game if you find them all. And it ends up being this 5 or 6 hour session demo of experimentation of things that you do that you don't get in the game itself. It's mind blowing they put that much into a VR demo. So not only was it an amazing tech demo for Resident Evil 7, it was just a good ass game in and of itself, and it probably would have been worth paying, $5, $10, $20 for the amount of time you got to enjoy it, and they gave it away for free. It's mind blowing. It's such an amazing. That is the gold standard for a quote unquote demo of a game.
Yeah, I mean I remember being how could anyone even figure this stuff out? For example, one of you found like a fingertip or something, or no, I think it was like a cross. And if you went to a specific point in the map and you pulled that item up and then you directed it toward a certain direction, you heard a voice, which gave you a clue to the next,
Yeah.
mystery you had to solve. I mean, it was just so in depth, and there were multiple endings. And I mean, it was just sometimes I think you just got to appreciate the Tetris Effect commercial trailer was incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
The demo for Resident Evil, and I forgot, you're very right. Most demos, like the Resident Evil or the Final Fantasy VII, that's part of the game. And then I'm going to get to that part of the real game. It's going to say, hey, did you play the demo? Do you want to skip this? And I'm going to. But for it to be totally new is wild, right? Like that's extra. Man, at Capcom, I freaking love you. Oh my.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I gotta put, is it even available? If you didn't have it saved on your PSVR, can you go back and get it? I wonder if it's on the PlayStation Store. Probably not anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah, because it's not the flat game, right? So it's not DLC. The other thing is like the kitchen demo for Resident Evil 7 was cool, but like you can't do anything. You're just sitting there waiting. But this demo it was perfect to like showcase VR. When I had friends come over and they wanted to see what VR was about, I'd put them in that. And I remember my friend playing this for the first time, and like you get unnerved, right? Like it's cool. You feel like you're in the house and stuff playing the game. And then when you come out of the chimney or you come out of the basement, and you walk towards the door to leave the room, and you see, the dad baker walking past the doorway for the first time, he just froze in place and then just sighed at himself and just shook his head because he was so horrified by what had just happened. Like it's like masterful storytelling. It's like better than any horror movie you can see. That demo, yeah, it's a work of art. It's a work of art.
I mean, yeah, everything is incredible. It's just freaking incredible. But that was my airing of grievance that people are just. I admit, to some extent, I'm also ignorant. But like, how that's not the gold standard. It's not anywhere. It's a normal demo, right?
Yeah.
I think people just use recency bias and they just want freaking clicks. And so then it's just so annoying. I hate how stuff is nowadays. But time to talk some Ultrawings. This is probably another game it's good, but I won't play. And then it'll end up being freaking fantastic and I'm going to love it. But let's reserve judgment. Talk to me.
Ultrawings. All right. So, Adam, the reason you won't play it is the same reason you didn't play Ultrawings 1, which is one of the best games of PSVR 1. Ultrawings is a game, if you ever played Pilot Wings, it's that kind of game. It's a flying game. It's a game dedicated to flying, but about different ways of flying and different types of aircrafts. And, although it doesn't sound exciting, the missions that you do are things like, flying through rings, trying to, hit targets, trying to fly, do something, and then land. And the missions are, vary between like 5 minutes to 10, 15 minutes in length, which doesn't sound exciting, but the way it becomes thrilling is that it's kind of this nice mix of like arcade and simulation, where it's arcade enough to where it's forgiving that you're not an actual pilot, unlike something like Microsoft Flight Simulator. But it's simulation enough to where you do have to worry about things like managing fuel, adjusting the flaps on the aircraft, turning on the fuel, turning on the thrusters, turning on the magneto or whatever that is in an airplane, and then flying around and really manipulating these things to do what you want to do. So you do feel like you're actually flying a plane because you have to do all this stuff and take care and be careful, but it's not punishing that you have to consider these things as you're playing the game. Ultrawings 1 did it great. It was super fun. You fly around in the ultralight first off, then you get an airplane with a prop, then you get a jet, and you're flying around to islands and doing flips and all sorts of fun stuff. But that game was a bit short-lived in the entertainment value. It seemed to only do so much, so it's like after a couple of hours, you kind of get what's going on. Ultrawings 2 ups the ante. You start off with an airplane. The ultralight is something you buy and unlock later. And what they've done in Ultrawings 2 is every aircraft you have has a different set of missions associated with it. So as you buy a new aircraft, you have new challenges that unlock specific for that aircraft. So like, for example, you get a biplane. So that's a plane with 2 sets of wings. And that's something that's focused on doing stunts. And so now you have... What are you laughing about, Adam?
It likes both helicopters and planes.
That was a funny joke, Adam.
Oh, was it?
But yeah, but you got to do like stunts in that, and so you get stunt challenges alongside the other challenges, like ring challenges and can you land in this weird spot challenge,
It
stuff
just
like
doesn't
that.
sound fun. It sounds like a freaking Pilot Wings, man.
It is kind of like Pilot Wings, but that's what makes it fun. Is there's a challenge to it. The real fun is that throughout the whole experience, you do feel like you're flying aircraft because it's VR. You have this presence. You're surrounded. You really do feel like you're flying an aircraft, and they make sure of that because the DualSense controller. You can play with the DualSense, use analog sticks. They work. It feels good. It's a viable way of playing the game without sacrificing too much enjoyment. You can play if you have a HOTAS, one of those flight sticks. Those work as well. It feels good. It works. You feel like you're flying an airplane. Or what's very surprising to me is you could just use the Sense controllers. And I was skeptical at first, but I started using it because I was admittedly too lazy to hook up my HOTAS controller. And you feel like you have all the precision and control that you have with a normal controller, and you're flying around, yanking the stick around, doing flips and barrel rolls and all the stuff you got to do to fly. And you always feel like you're in control of the plane. You don't feel like you're losing anything because your hand's waving around in free space. So I'm just describing, like, the feel of the game is fantastic. The game looks good. It's a bit arcadey of graphics, but, it's understandable because you're in this giant world with, like, 6 or 7 or 8 islands that you can fly to and buy airports and do crazy stuff in those different islands. But the game is only $20. There's no reason this game should launch at $20 beyond the fact that the developers were like, you know what, let's cut the players a break and sell this game for only $20. It is a game that easily has the time, the quality, and the content of a $30 or $40 game, or even a $50 game when I compare it to other games I've paid $50 for. You're getting your money's worth in spades. You'll get that $20 worth within the first evening you play that game. But the variety's there too. They've expanded on the mission. So in the first game, the most combat-intensive thing that would happen is you'd fly around and shoot balloons with a dart gun. But in this game, they've added actual combat. So there's situations where, like, bombers are coming to bomb your airport. You got to take off and then take out the bombers before they get to your airport, which you're dogfighting in an airplane. It's cool. They added multiplayer, dogfighting multiplayer, so deathmatch multiplayer in Ultrawings. So I'm flying around shooting down other real players in real time, and I did it, and I sucked at it, but I'll be damned, it was thrilling. I was weaving in and out of buildings and skyscrapers in a city trying to hunt down somebody so I could shoot them before they could shoot me down. It was an unparalleled experience, and this is somebody who played a ton of Ace Combat, an unparalleled experience in VR and in gaming in general. So the game's longer than Ultrawings 1, better than Ultrawings 1. You get a ultralight glider, so like a slow-paced airplane. You get a prop plane. You get a jet plane. You get a helicopter. So it's an insane amount of content. Different missions for all of them. Super fun to play. Multiplayer. So I absolutely adore the game. I think everybody should play it. And also, if you're looking for a fun game to, like, listen to a podcast and fly around, this is the perfect game for that because the music doesn't really mean much. It's kind of the music doesn't mean anything, so you can just play the game and listen to whatever you want.
You just play the Top Gun Spotify playlist.
That would be great. You'd get right in the zone. But it's an incredible quality and content to price ratio. So you'd be begrudged.
Final countdown.
That is not Top Gun. That's not Top Gun at all.
What?
That's not Top Gun. No. You're thinking of Danger Zone is Top Gun. I've been through the danger zone. And then you see the enemy and you're like, blammo!
Blammo!
So Adam, before I place this, actually, let's place the game on the list real quick because kind of an official, unofficial review. I bought the game, whatever. Adam, honestly, I'm looking at VR Skater, our current number 8, because that's a game that gets a lot of grace because of how much it simulates skating. This game simulates flying in such an enjoyable way, but also realistic way. I want to play it more than Walkabout. I actually want to play it more than Pavlov. I love Rez too much, and I think Synapse is a little bit too special. I'm gonna put it above Pavlov. And
wait, are you putting it on the list we made last week or our original list? Yeah, which one are we gonna start going off of?
The list we made last week. That was our official reorganization.
That was if you've never played EPSPR.
Okay, you son of a. Okay, well, fine then. Fine. Here's what I'm gonna say.
I mean, I don't know though. Like I like our list last week better,
Yeah.
But
I
I
like
don't
the
know.
list last week's list is better. So I say we keep that one. That's our official
Okay.
list moving forward. So
Thank
I'm
you,
putting it
Matt Packard. You
yeah,
just
thank
you
you.
changed the game.
He shifted the universe for our listeners. It is now I'm putting Ultra Wings 2 at number 7, below Rez and above Pavlov. It is almost as must play as you can get.
Rez top 10 game again.
Here's the thing: I'm never putting anything above Rez. All right, I'm personally not putting anything above Rez. But seriously,
Wait,
Ultra Wings
where's
2.
VR Skater then?
It is at number 9 now.
Okay. I think that's
And
fair. I
then
think that's fair.
Pavlov is at number 8. Ultra Wings 2 is at number 7. Just because I get way more out of Ultra Wings. Pavlov is great. It's super fun. It's a first-person shooter deathmatch stuff.
When's the last time you played it?
Exactly. I don't feel compelled to go back to it. Ultra Wings, a year from now, I'll be like, damn it, I need to get back and play some Ultra Wings. I want to fly an airplane around. It's so damn good. So much content, so much fun. So it's going there. But Adam, I got one last philosophical question for you. Considering Ultra Wings 1 and Ultra Wings 2, the reason I enjoy Ultra Wings 2 is admittedly because I love shooting down other planes. I love blowing up other planes. And this had me think in kind of a little conundrum. Adam, why do we have to kill things in most games in order for it to be fun? Why is that? Why even childish games like Mario and Zelda require you to kill other creatures? What do you think it is in video games that requires you to destroy another potentially sentient being?
I think multiple reasons. One, I think it brings out the competitive nature of it. It's me against you. If it's just a race against time, like it's not as much fun competing against yourself. You don't get that dopamine rush when, oh, I in Gran Turismo, oh, I beat my last record. Like it's cool, but you don't get that rush of, hey, I just telekinetically moved this explosive barrel, made it go boom, shot, threw a dude up and shot him like I was shooting skeet. You don't get that playing those type of games. I think that's part one reason. Two, it gives you like miniature goals. It's like a lot of people in life, they're like start small. And if you're bad at being productive, get up, put socks on, eat breakfast just so they can mark something off the list and make you feel accomplished. Well, in a level, if there's 50 bad guys, there's a bunch, but with each kill, you're like, I did that. So I think that also, there's a lot of things. It's a good psychological debate, but I think those are the two biggest reasons. I mean, it's enjoyable. I don't look at all the games I really enjoy. Yeah, it's you against something. The one exception was To the Top. That was just a friggin' brilliant game.
But the most fun you had in To the Top was when you played multiplayer, though, right? Maybe
I don't
not.
know about
Okay.
that. I had very much fun, and that wasn't killing someone. That was still
But
beating you in a race.
but it's the competitive nature. Yeah, like Gran Turismo 7, it's fun to play against a computer or whatever, but you know you're going to beat that. But then when you play against somebody else and you get the same time but you beat them, you feel way better about yourself.
Yeah.
You had way more fun. That's Adam, I want to admit I'm impressed. I didn't know the answer to this question when I came in here, and I think you hit the nail on the head on both fronts. It really makes it a competitive thing. It's either you against somebody or, in a sense, you against the world, right? Like, if you don't take action and succeed, you are eliminated. Life or death type situation going on, which raises the stakes for something as silly as a video game to make it more fun. I mean, I'm thinking back to, like, I like playing Tetris. Tetris is really fun, but I can't make myself play Tetris by myself. I have to be playing with friends and taking turns and seeing who can get the best score. I got to be, like, more or less defeating somebody else to have a really fun time with it. And yeah, I think that's right. How do you feel like you are competing against and defeating somebody when there's nobody else to play against? You got to kill something. You got to kill somebody. You got to squash them down. You got to rub their nose in the crap and make them feel like dirt. That's what Ultra Wings does. I shoot these planes. They're right up. I'm about to run into them, and then I blow them up right before I collide with them, and I watch them slowly spiral down and crash into the ocean. And it's just an AI airplane. I'll be damned if I don't feel like a hero when that happens. It's a good game.
And when people exceed in this arena, like Resident Evil, is when, like, Synapse, you're stronger than everyone else, right? They'll gang up on you. There's little things they'll do to get to you, but you're stronger than anyone else. In Resident Evil, it's like a manhunt. It's man versus man. You feel equal or even lesser than the monsters you're facing, which increases, and that's what adds the sense of dread. It's not like, oh, Synapse, they shot me a couple times, but I'm still alive. I'm still kicking. Resident Evil, no, they get to you, you're done. It's good. It's good. Alex,
Yeah.
I'm fine with where you put Ultrawings too. I think it's the reason why I looked up footage on here. I see what you mean by the graphics, but maybe
The thing,
one
yeah,
day.
the footage doesn't do it justice. It's when you finally figure out how to start the plane and you take off and then you are like flying around a little bit and you realize that, oh, it's not like I just hit left and go left. I have to like tilt the plane and pull back and then start turning. And then you start really feeling like you're flying. You look out the windows and you see how high up you are and stuff. It's really a magnificent feeling. It was one of the best experiences of my life of VR, playing Ultrawings 1, and this revisits that with better fidelity, better gameplay, better everything. So $20 is a freaking steal. The haptics work amazing for making you feel like you're holding on to the flight stick, even though you're using sense controllers. So, Adam, okay, in light of what you said about Synapse, you need to get this game. You need to get this game. This is a game you need to get. I say a lot of games are good, you're right. This is a game you need to get and you need to play. It's so good. And we can play against each other if that's what it's going to take you to make you feel like you're doing something, is we can dogfight each other, but it is such a good game. And I feel so lucky that PSVR gets this game to come out. Anyways, okay, I'm bloviating on this game. Let's go ahead. Let's close out this segment. Adam, we got segment 2 coming up. We got to talk about a couple of games, new games that came out. People want to hear our thoughts on them. So we're going to hit you with that. And if we got some time, we'll talk about some sales too. So we will see you after the break.
Blammo! Welcome to Play PSVR 2, the podcast. Alex, what? Oh, I had a joke. What was it?
While you think about it, Adam, can you tell me what it tastes? What it's like tasting that white cucumber go down your throat?
It's not as good as I thought it would be. Yeah, it's not much cucumber. Like, you might as well not even, like, it's just white tea. Like, I don't really understand.
Not a. That's like that joke on The Office when they have that gay energy drink that's like coconut penis flavored, and he said, "I never understood why they added the coconut."
What? That was a joke on The Office?
Yeah, it was. It was.
No way, I missed that. Okay, what does a perverted frog say?
I don't know. Some variation of ribbit. What?
Rub it. Rub it.
I gotta. I mean, I like it. I gotta ask. Do you Google these jokes between segments? Or do you just check your spam folder from emails like your grandma sent you or something? I appreciate them. I don't want to downplay it. I'm just curious where they come from.
It's funny. Yeah. I go through multiple outlets. It is throughout the week, mind you. And I write them down and I add my own flavor. Like, for example, I don't know if the listeners know, but your wiener is so small you could use it to get the SD card out of your Android phone. you know they've got the little holes you got to put in them. And boom! Listeners, tell me which joke you like the best. Well, the first, wait, yeah, the beginning had a joke. The what? My butt cheeks. Yeah, which of the three jokes did you like the best?
I like the butt cheeks joke the best because you inadvertently insinuated that I was somehow passing through your butt cheeks, which was pretty funny.
I don't think that's what was happening, but whatever. Okay, so now that I got that out of my system, Alex, I played only about an hour's worth of Dead Hook, but I was excited because this looked like a Doom VFR clone, something that I think very much we need in the PSVR 2 library. So my initial impressions here, they throw a little too much at you right off the bat. You have multiple methods of fighting back against the bad guys, which to this point, since I've been playing, are big bugs and aliens. So you have a chainsaw that will come out of your hand, and you can chainsaw their heads off. You can punch them in the face. You can manually, if their health is low enough, rip their arms off and just destroy them. You have 3 different spells. You have like 6 different guns. And they use every button and every button combination on the DualSense, which I think ultimately will be good. It's just a lot right off the bat. Like I was like, I don't know how to change guns. I don't know where to get my gun. I don't remember how to do multiple things while fighting. And it's the beginning of the game is a pressure cooker. You have to beat these levels in a time period. So I'm rushing because you don't know the game well enough to know if they're going to go easy, right? They're just like, guess what? You got 10 minutes. And I'm like, I don't know how long these levels are. I don't know anything. So you're rushing through. I don't know how to do stuff, taking damage, but it seems like it should be fairly fast paced. Again, when you're used to it, having all the different weapons at your disposal, I think could be cool. I like the gruesome aspect. Now, it's not Resident Evil graphics by any means. You aren't going to think you're actually chopping an alien's head off. It's like probably, I would say, and I know they're totally different graphics, so it may be hard to imagine. I would say Ultrawings 2 style or type graphics, like that in the hierarchy.
Like a little bit arcadey, right?
Yeah, but not like overly so. It's a mix. Yeah. But it's still cool to like get your chainsaw going and you push R2 to get the chain, and then you just cut their head off and it goes flying. I mean, kind of cool. But you also have a hook in your hand. And so I'm not really sure why they're calling it Dead Hook. But it's just like a grappling hook. You shoot it up and then you fly up there. I mean, kind of cool. But
so does the grappling hook just like pull you wherever you point it to?
Yeah, it's like wherever your hand is pointing, there's a line that goes out and it hits the wall, and then.
So it's what you say. Like that's an underrated VR gameplay thing because Arashi did the same thing. You had a grappling hook. You could only use it in certain places, and it really just pulled you in a straight line to whatever you were doing. And I'm a guy who loves a grappling hook in a game, like. In Super Metroid, when you got that grappling hook, it felt good. Metroid Prime, you got it, felt good. Bionic Commando on the 360 felt good. But in VR, when it pulls you in that straight line, I still really enjoy it. Like, I think it's a really fun thing to do in VR, to have a grappling hook. Even though it's stupid and simple, you're effectively slowly teleporting to a location. I'm happy that it's in the game from what I hear.
Yeah, I mean, I may get better at it, so that's the caveat here, but it's not as accurate as if I just could jump, right?
Okay, yeah. Like, so you can't jump? You grappling hook is how you would quote unquote jump?
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
At least I may get used to it, but it doesn't seem like you have the ability to jump higher, farther, or shorter, which I don't always want to jump super high, or it really matters the angle that you grappling hook, because you can't like start up the trajectory, let go the button, and then you kind of slow down and go where you want. It's like you press X, you're going, big boy, and that's the way it is. Like, so yeah, I don't know. Like I said, definitely. And I've only played, like I said, the first hour, beat the first boss. Not very far. And it's not even really the first boss. It's like the introductory mission boss thing. And then a little
Yeah.
bit after that. But has potential. We'll review it. I think we both have it, Alex. So we'll play it. And maybe next week have an official review. It might be a couple weeks. And we might have the developers on too. You never
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
I asked them to join us if they wanted, and we'll chat about it. But I'm so excited to jump in. It's definitely different going from Synapse to this though, because Synapse was so polished and so well done. It's one of the best VR games, obviously, for the PSVR 2. So it's a little unfair. It's a high bar to
Yeah. Yeah.
standard there, but
Well, this is a game that's like $20 too, right? So it's like a discount game. It's I don't want to say bargain bin, but it's the kind of game where like you know what you're getting, right? Where when you pay $20 for a game, you know you're not getting like the cream of the crop. You know you're not getting Resident Evil 4 remake. Um, but sometimes that happens, like with Ultrawings, right? I know I'm not getting Microsoft Flight Simulator in VR, but I'm getting a damn good flying game. And so just like this, compared to say like Doom VFR, I know I'm not getting Doom VFR, but if I can get like I don't know 80% of Doom VFR for $20, like that's not a bad deal.
I
Um,
would really like Doom VFR though.
Yeah, if they ported, I mean, that's something we could talk about. I don't think we have enough time in the segment, but like Xbox is supposedly going multi-platform with all their games. That's the big news this week in the
Because they
gaming
suck.
space. Because I talked to Shafe Dog way too much on Discord about this, but yeah, it's
So what's the synopsis you two came to?
yeah. So the Xbox Series X is a good console, right? And like it's basically as good as a PlayStation 5 for all intents and purposes. Game Pass is the big thing that sells it, and Sony's PlayStation Plus is not as good as Game Pass, but it's trying to be. But Xbox doesn't have the exclusives, so they're like people aren't buying an Xbox to play games. They're buying an Xbox because they've always bought an Xbox, and now they're just playing whatever lands on the Xbox. And Starfield came out on the Xbox. It didn't sell very well. I'm guessing it probably sold well with respect to Xbox games, but if they could launch it on the PS5, then maybe it'd sell more. They'd make more money, and so that's what they're going for. So my hope is that if Xbox does indeed, Microsoft does indeed take their games multi-platform, then that would open Bethesda up to maybe make some, VR ports of some of the games that they worked on previously, right? Like Skyrim was a Bethesda game that's now owned by Microsoft. Fallout is a VR game that never got ported to PlayStation because it's owned by Microsoft. Doom VFR, same situation. So, like, listen, I don't want to play Starfield. I don't really feel compelled to do it, but I'll be damned if it was in VR. I'd play the hell out of that game. It'd be super fun. So, like these kind of things, there's good games on the Xbox that are Xbox exclusive that I don't care to play in flat mode, but I'd love to play in VR. And so I honestly, it sounds like that's two steps removed from what's going to happen. But if that happens, that's a great thing to occur. And yet, Shave Dog and I basically came to the consensus of like, there's just not really system sellers on the Xbox ecosystem. Like, I bought an Xbox Series X because they were on a steep discount over Christmas, and there's not really much reason for me to play it. Like, there's no games on Xbox only that's like, I gotta play that. I'm really just playing games that are released for free on Game Pass because I don't feel like paying for it for the PlayStation 5. So, I don't know. I'd love it if some of these Bethesda games came to PSVR 2, but it seems like it'd be one extra step that's probably not going to happen.
I love my Xbox Series S I got. I play it all the time.
Did you wait? Did you get a Series S?
No, I didn't.
No.
I didn't get anything. I have a friend who he's thinking about buying the Xbox. I'm like, why? Like,
So I will say this, totally unrelated to VR, but the Xbox Series S is probably like the ultimate emulation machine You can mod that thing. I think you pay $10 for like developer access. You can put all the emulators on it, and then you have this machine that can play every game from Atari all the way up to like Dreamcast or PlayStation 2, maybe even better, Xbox 360, right? So it plays all the way up to the 360 era games, like with more or less full fidelity. It's an amazing machine for what you can do with it, but in terms of games that are only on Xbox that you can't get anywhere else, it's unless you really love Halo or really love Gears of War, there's not really much reason to jump in there.
Yeah, I mean, I have absolutely zero interest in owning an Xbox. This none of the games. I mean, they would have to do something. They would need that. They would need to buy Square Enix or something for me to be like, okay, now I have to buy an Xbox. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, they bought the Call of Duty developers, but under the stipulation that they would be allowed to release Call of Duty on PlayStation 5, which is hilarious. Like, what's the point of buying a developer if you have
Yeah,
to release the games on another console? But that's what happened. So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
I don't, but I do agree that the PlayStation Plus, the games are just trash. We have yet, except for Humanity, we haven't gotten a PSVR 2 game yet. How are they not throwing us a bone, man? It's been a
Yeah.
friggin' year, dog. Can you believe? When is it? Has it been officially been a year since PSVR 2's been out?
I think it was like the 19th when it came out. Wait, is today the day that PSVR 2 came out? Are we just glossing over the 1 year anniversary of PSVR 2?
We were gonna do a whole episode special too, and
Oh no, we got like a week or so. It's February 22nd when it came out. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
dang it. Okay. Because next week is Valentine's Day. So we
Yeah.
have a Valentine's episode. And then we're going to have, I mean, it'll be a little late, but we'll have PSVR 2's birthday. If you got any birthday wishes or something we can cover, you let us know, listeners.
Yeah.
But
But I guess bringing it back around to Dead Hook, that's I've been interested in Dead Hook, right? I want to play it. I'll play a B or C tier version of Doom VFR if that's what it takes to get as close to Doom VFR as I can get. It looks good from the footage. Things I've seen in like YouTube videos is it does seem a bit stilted, seems a bit janky as you mentioned. But again, it's $20, so like, what can you really ask for? So I don't know. I think it might be a good time. How do the guns feel? Right, like Synapse feels all right with the shooting, but Synapse isn't really a shooting game. Like the telekinesis takes kind of a front seat on a lot of combat, and the shooting is there to clean up afterwards. How do the guns feel in Dead Hook?
I mean, there's still a lot that I need to practice with, but not uber great.
Not like
Standard.
Crossfire, right?
Oh no, nothing even remotely like that. I'm thinking more of like simpler than Vertigo 2.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. Vertigo 2 has that's the thing. Adam, I was skeptical of your Vertigo 2 read. I played Vertigo 2. I bought it and played it, and I could see why people really like it. But like the gunplay's pretty like low key. It's pretty flat. And for a game that is effectively a first person shooter, like the gunplay feels kind of like like it's not
I told you don't buy it, and
I,
you don't listen.
well, I had to buy. I mean, I had fun, but like the second gun you get in the game is a shotgun, and you don't feel like you're blasting a shotgun at dudes, right? I ran
Yeah.
straight up to one of the enemies and I shot him with a shotgun, and he was just like, "All right, I got hit. I'd probably have to get hit twice before I die," which is not how you want to feel when you've been granted the awesome power of a shotgun in a video game, nonetheless, but a VR game ultimately. Like when you are point blank with somebody and you blast them with the shotgun in a video game, they're supposed to like be eviscerated, right? That's the whole point of the shotgun
Yeah.
is that it sucks at range, but when you get close, it's devastating. But this, it just didn't capture that feel, and I was like, great, I don't want this anymore. I want to go back to the stupid dart gun that I have, and I'd be content to hide behind a corner and blast them with darts instead. So,
I
like,
still need to go in Synapse and use a shotgun. I always use the SMG, especially when I got into the later levels that were more difficult. I just never used a shotgun. I'm going to do a run only shotgun. I have some work to do, some achievements that I need.
yeah, yeah, because you unlock the skill points based on what weapons you're using,
I
right?
wonder what the platinum for it is. If it's that you have to S every level, there's no way I can't do that.
I don't. It might be, but I don't think you have to S everything. But I do think you have to like unlock all of the like power ups, which are things like kill 30 enemies with a shotgun or something like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in one
Okay,
run with it. Yeah.
so that's Dead Hook. Again, super early impressions. A game is out if you want to go ahead and buy it. Like I said, next week or at worst the week after, we'll have a full review. Looking forward to it. Keeping the train rolling. And you have what I thought was called Fantasy
You
Legends.
called it Final Legacy. Adam wrote in the show notes. He said, "Alex, you're going to talk about Final Legacy," which I think is hilarious. Not to be confused with Immortal Legacy, the game that I bought but still haven't played on PSVR one. I should visit that at some point because I bet it's fun. The game we're actually talking about is the much hyped Legendary Tales, and Adam said or whatever. It's called Legendary Tales. It's put out by, damn it, I already forgot their name. Urban Wolf. It's put out by Urban Wolf.
They put out
They put out a good game. A Korean studio, which Korean studios really represent now. They got this game. They got that game that was just shown on the PlayStation State of Play, that Stellar Blade game, which is like a Korean version of Nier Automata. I'm tentatively excited about the game. The protagonist is very sexy. But anyways, back to Legendary Tales. It's low bad items first. I've played the game for about an hour or two, so I got some early impressions. No review here. It's the worst parts about it.
first tell me what type of game it is. I don't even know what the game. What's the game?
It's an action RPG, and if I really had to further define it, it's kind of like Dark Souls, that kind of thing. Like Dark Souls, a little bit less severe than Dark Souls. Like Dark Souls meets Skyrim.
Give me a PSVR type game.
Skyrim, but more severe. Roguelike Skyrim type situation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And by severe, you mean more difficult?
More difficult. Yeah, it's more deliberate in what you're doing. So you can't go in there just waving your hands around like crazy and you just win because you have a higher level. You have to be more focused in how you apply the combat and how you apply your loadout and stuff like that.
Okay,
so,
seems what give me graphic breakdown. Are we talking somewhat realistic? We talking Zenith? We talking
No, the graphics are really good. It's a fantasy game, right? So like there's skeletons. That's the first enemy you fight, and there's like goblins and stuff.
Does it look like Skyrim for PSVR?
Looks better. Looks better. Yeah, it
Okay.
looks.
Is it that type of graphics though? Like it's kind of realistic, but obviously
it's trying to be realistic within the limitations of the PSVR too. I mean, the drawback is that you have one, it's VR. Two, it's like an independent studio, right? There's only 5 developers in this game, which is mind blowing for the level of quality in the game. But it is apparent in repeated patterns on the floor and relatively simplistic level of design. But it's not boring simplistic. It's just like, yeah, you get that you're not going to get a fully fleshed out environment like you see in Final Fantasy 16 that has like hundreds of people working on it. But it tries its best and it does a very good job of semi-realistic graphics. It looks good. Nothing is distractingly.
Yeah, no, this one. Yeah, I looked up. This looks good.
Yeah, nothing's distractingly generic in the graphical presentation. So yeah, I'll get into more of the gameplay details. The bad things about it, Legendary Tales. I'm sorry, it might be the worst name for a video game of all time. It takes me about 3 or 5 seconds to figure out what the name of this game is every time I want to talk about it. It's just the most generic game name I've ever seen, which means nothing about how the game plays, but I just feel bad that they named it that because it's so hard to keep that in your mental memory.
Do you think it's a translation thing?
No, I honestly don't know. And maybe the developers are just shrewd and they're like, who cares about the name if the game is good? They could have called it Fart Suck Ball Sack, and it's not going to change how the game plays. It's a really good game.
FBS for short.
See us, next year when Adam and Alex release Fart Suck Ball Sack on the PSVR 2. Just not a great name, which is disappointing because the game is really fun. The music in the game is really good. Really sets the atmosphere and it matches the visuals really well. So you're in the mood when you play the game. You feel like you're in this fantasy adventure, kind of scary, kind of spooky type stuff going on. Other downsides of the game, it's slower paced than something like Skyrim, Adam, which I don't know how you would take to that. The movement, I don't want to say the movement's really slow, but the walking speed's relatively slow. You do have a sprint button. But in situations, it's just one of those games where if you die, you got to go back to where your body is and get recover your loot and equipment from your dead body. before you die, because if you die, then everything's lost for good. Some people hate that. I like that because it puts like a penalty to death, but it doesn't really punish you too severely for dying. Um, have you ever played like Diablo, Adam? I think there was that one game, Vendetta. Was it Vendetta Rising on the PS?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Preta Vendetta. Speaking of badly named games, Preta Vendetta Rising or whatever.
I
Um,
mean, but yeah, no, I like the game. It was too long. Took too long to update or not update, but to
to level up,
upgrade
yeah,
and
yeah,
get
yeah.
better and beat it. I never beat. I mean, I can't even imagine the hours, the
Yeah.
tens of hours you would have to spend. I mean, it was fun, but hopefully it's not exactly like that.
No, no, because that's more of like the isometric view, right? Like you're looking down on the character and
Yeah.
fighting and stuff like that. But this is that same kind of gameplay mechanic. You go into this area, you fight the enemies, you got like loot dropping, and then you try to decide like, do I want to pick up this sword or do I want to keep the sword that I have? That kind of thing. So like Diablo is the game that really pioneered this kind of, made this really fun and accessible. So it's that kind of gameplay, going through the dungeon, getting the new sword, and experimenting with how that feels. Really enjoyable. Um, the big thing that sets this game apart is it's one of the best physics based combat systems in any one of these like action games. So the way the combat basically works is you'll see the enemy like start swinging their sword at you, and you have to parry their sword attack. So if they're coming down slicing vertically at you, you got to swing your sword up, horizontally and intercept their slice so that you can parry them, and then that opens them up so you can really attack them and do severe damage to them. Um, but they also take it a bit further, whereas most games that do this, like Arashi, which I recently played, if you just held your sword, like just floated it out there in front of you, and they swung and hit it, that would be a parry for them. But this game is taking into account the momentum of your sword. How hard are you swinging it upward? Are you actually parrying them, or are you just holding your sword there? Because if you hold it there flat and they swing at you, it's just going to slide past your sword and hit you, and you're going to take damage. So you actually have to like mean it when you swing the sword. You got to mean it when you go for the parry with your shield or your dagger or whatever. And then you have to mean it when you actually attack. So I can't just like, you know, wildly wave my sword and get all the hits in. I have to like actually swing it, actually be accurate, and I can't just swing 100 times a minute and get the same amount of damage. If you swing, there's a cooldown before you can swing again to get full damage. So the combat is methodical, it's meaningful, and it feels really damn good. And when there's more than one enemy coming at you, swinging at you, you have to like make space and start strategizing and trying to like say, okay, I can only fight one of these guys at a time. They're both swinging at me. Which one am I going to take out? How am I going to take them out? And so it makes every combat situation feel really fun, really enjoyable, really tactile. Like the haptics and stuff do a lot of work here for you to make you feel good about the fighting. So even when you're fighting the lowest level grunt, the level 1 skeleton, it's a good combat situation. It feels really fun. And that's what's enjoyable about the games like Dark Souls. Even when you're level 100 in Dark Souls, you can get wiped out if you're not focusing when you fight the very first enemy, right? He could hit you 5 or 6 times before you know it, and you're dead. It keeps the stakes high no matter what's happening. There's different types of weapons. So this game does a really good job for things like a two-handed axe, right? You have a two-handed axe, you can hold it with like one hand at the bottom, one hand at the top, and you get these short swings that don't have enough leverage. But when you're holding the weapon, if you hit the R2 button, so the main trigger, that allows you to slide your hand further down the axe if you want to. So I can have both hands down at the bottom of the hilt, and I can really swing that sucker and get the most momentum out of it. And it really does a lot more damage that way. So these kind of things, they thought about the most physics realistic combat system they could create in VR, and it shows, and it surprisingly works. And so every fight you have feels good, and it feels exciting, and it's enjoyable. And every weapon you pick up has like a meaning to it. Like I got a club, and so I can really just like hammer down on guys, and it feels tactile and responsive. Or I have a dagger, and I stab the dudes, and then if they die when I stab them, then their head is stuck on the blade. And it feels like you earned that like visceral kill, as opposed to something like Skyrim where they just go ragdoll and fall over. So the combat is the key here, but what they've also done is made this huge, huge environment. The game is huge, and it feels great. So in the 2 hours I've played, I'm having a thrilling time. And what's most disappointing about the game is that we learned about this game a week or two ago, right? This is a game that Sony should have played early on in production and realized, holy crap, this is the system seller that we've been looking for. This is the game that people have been asking for PSVR 2 for the longest time. It's, from what I've read, 30, 40 hours worth of content just based on the depth of the gameplay, the depth of the variety of loadouts, the quality of the content. It's that big game that people have been wanting for in VR, and the mechanics of it work so well. We find out about it 2 weeks ago. It's got the stupidest name of any game I've ever seen, and it ends up being probably the best RPG on VR in general. Probably the best RPG, action RPG, that's come out on the consoles in a long time. It's just a phenomenal game. The biggest downside, and the reason you're probably never going to play it, it's $55. So I don't know if what I'm telling you sells you on the game, but it is a magnificent game. It brings something to the table, at least so far, that nothing else has quite been able to do in VR. And the developer said, like, all right, the game's done. It's too much stress for us to try to add more to it. The game's done. But what they've made so far is incredible. It's fantastic, and it's so fun to play. And if I only got 5 hours out of this game, I'd feel fine paying $50 for it because the gameplay is that good. I'm going to keep coming back to it. But to get 10, 20, 30 hours out of it, that's such a gift. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts so far on the game, Adam?
It's going to be time for a sale. Gotta wait for that sale.
Oh, wait. Another big thing. It's got 4-player co-op. So you can do this dungeon crawl, this looting, this fighting in multiplayer. And they scale the enemies based on how many people have joined. So it's harder when you have... The enemies are harder when you have more than one people, so you're not just wasting through enemies. So it's a game that you and I can play together, Adam. It's going to be super fun. So like that, it's like the fun of Crossfire mixed with the adventure of Skyrim, but with one of the most unique and robust and best feeling physics combat engines in VR. There's so much goodness here. We're so lucky to have it, and it's going to fly under the radar of everybody in the video game space because they don't have VR. They're not looking for something to play on PSVR 2, and maybe the best game that's come out since launch, other than Resident Evil, has been released quietly. So it's really awesome.
It's really gonna need to be on sale. Speaking of sales, Alex, let's just rip them open, baby. Maybe Legendary Tales is on there.
It most certainly is not.
So for me, $35, you think pull the trigger?
Definitely. $40 pull the trigger. Like I don't know what I don't know what I could tell you to make you play this game, but I think that everybody who has a PSVR 2 should play this game because it is the best physical combat engine in a game. And
so I'm gonna wait until you do an official review and are more than 2 hours in. How about that?
Yeah. No, that's certainly that's fair enough. I mean, there's other reviewers out there that have done it. For some reason, Adam, PS Prices has just crapped the bed on me. It's just not loading. So I hope this hasn't ruined our segment. I had it preloaded. Now I'm trying to refresh the page and it's dead on me.
Well, it ruined the whole episode. Scrap it all. No sales.
F it. We'll do it live. I can go to... what I can do is I can just go to the PlayStation Store. Oh, no, now it's loading. Okay, great. We'll sort by discount. And we are here. Crap, let me say PS5 only.
The thing is, like, what game do I want to be on sale? I mean, at this point, I feel like I've played all the games I was like, I have to play.
All right, well, let's find out, Adam. Here's the sales, and maybe you'll buy something. Gorn has come out for $7.99.
I know. I played the demo, and that's unfortunately one scenario where the demo did it in because it sucked.
All right, how about Jurassic Park Aftermath Collection for $11.99?
This game's an aftermath of thought.
An aftermath of thought. Adam, The Last Worker has been discounted to $7.99.
That's the last game on this list I'll probably play. It looked dumb. You streamed it. No thanks.
And Adam, this one's a weird one. I'm seeing here that there's some kind of like money that you can buy for Mortal Blitz Combat Arena, which is a game that came out on PSVR 1. They made like a free-to-play version of it, but it's showing up under the PS5 list, and I'm wondering, did Mortal Blitz get ported to PS5 and we just didn't know it?
Not that I know of, but...
That Mortal Blitz was pretty fun, though, right? Like back in the day?
I mean...
Okay. After the Fall Complete Edition, discounted to $14.99.
I mean, if you have people who'd actually play it, I actually think that's a decent price. The issue is no one will play. They'll convince you, hey, Adam, buy this for $32 and then they don't play it again.
Adam, I tried to get you to play it. You wouldn't play with me. Adam, C Smash VRS is discounted to $10.71.
That is the deal of a century. Now, am I going to say you're going to get 25 hours out of this? No. It starts to go stale, but the first 10 hours you are going to love. It is a blast. I don't know if multiplayer still has the people, but that's a good price. That's a buyable price. I would pull the trigger.
Adam, to your point, they just announced this is coming to Quest now. So, and it's going to have crossplay. So if you want to play C Smash multiplayer, you're going to have a better chance now because the population you can play against is now opened up tenfold.
Smash that.
Smash that, yeah. The last Clockwinder was released on sale for $14.99.
Wait, we have the last worker and now the last Clockwinder?
Very confusing, I admit. This is that game where you like record yourself doing something, and then you have a robot doing it, and then you got to like interact with your robot recording.
Wait. This is the last aftermath thought that.
Oh, that's rude. This game is actually really clever. I like it. But Adam says it's an afterthought. So, okay. Yeah. Adam, Behind the Frame VR, $11.99.
This is a prison game, right?
Not at all. This is a game about taking pictures or something, or painting or something like that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. What price?
$11.99. Discounted from $20.
Ooh, it's got to be single digits. If it hits $9.99, I would pull the trigger.
That $2 means
concept, but
$2 means a lot to you, Adam. That's a gamer juice in your world, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Journey to Foundation is discounted from $40 down to $23.99.
Dude, I looked at this game and I passed on it for a reason.
So I admit I'm a big fan of the Foundation series. I'm finishing up the last book. I bought this game at $40, and the little bit that I've played so far, I'm going to finish the book before I go back into it. I enjoyed it. They advertise it like a first-person shooter. It's not a first-person shooter. It's like a story-driven adventure game. $23.99 seems fair to me. There's some glitchiness, or not glitchiness, but just like lower quality stuff. But if you're fine with a really good story, I think this game has it.
Journey to PayPal.com to save your money and lock down your funds.
Lock down your funds. Shut up, Adam. Green Hell VR with a free expansion now for $17.99.
I feel like if you're gonna buy one of those games, you gotta do Song and Smoke. I'm sorry. There's no room for two of these, and unfortunately, they're just the worst one. I'm sorry.
This one was supposed to have multiplayer, and it didn't. And they said it's coming. Maybe when it comes, then you'll have an argument. But yeah, if you can only buy one, get Song and Smoke, even if it's more expensive. What the Bat for $14.99?
This just sounds so stupid. And I'm a boy with bat for arms? No, you're not a boy, and you don't have a bat because you don't have the game, if you're smart.
Okay, I won't say anything. What is it? Then VR Adventure. This is like a knockoff of Astrobot for $11.99.
I don't know this. I'm going to hold reserve judgment because if I liked the interactive nature of Seeker My Shadow, which obviously was low level, if this is mid level and it still has that charm, something might be there, or it could suck.
Yeah, it's a platformer. Yeah. Ruins Magus Complete for $19.49.
Magus, more like maggots. Nope.
How about Creed Rise to Glory for $25.99?
I'm not playing it.
How about Not for Broadcast VR for $16.24?
Broadcast this. No, I'm joking. That actually seems interesting. What price?
$16.24, down from $25.
I would like $12 on that.
Adam, we got to go fast. There's a lot of sales. I didn't realize it. Trip VR, $39.99.
Trip on drugs, not this game.
Suicide Guy VR Deluxe for $6.79.
No.
Last Labyrinth for $20.99.
Find your way out of the game store if you think about buying this.
Barbaria for $13.99.
Be barbaric and save your money and spend it on your wife.
Box to the Beat Remix for $13.99.
Boots and cats and don't buy the game.
Pixel Rip 1978 for $17.49.
Look, that's a good price, right?
Yeah, it's a one and done game, but it's about 5 hours long. Yeah, 5, 6. Hellsweeper for $20.99.
Sweep your wood floors instead. Be a
Actually,
better use of your time.
This might actually be really good. I'm going to play it soon.
Cool.
Paper Beast Enhanced Edition for $17.49.
Old game. Move on.
2 MDVR Football Unleashed All-Star for $10.49.
Ugh. I'm thinking $7 on this.
All right. Pixel Ripped 1995 for $13.99.
Oh, that's even better price. Maybe buy this one and not the last one.
Okay. The Tale of Onogoro for $24.49. This was in the top 10 of all time for the year on PSVR 2 in Japan.
Yeah, but too much culture. I one bite at a time. Next.
Too much culture. Pistol Whip for $20.99.
Too expensive. Pizza Whip. Come on, dude. It's a port. Lower that.
Organ Quarter for $17.49. This is the horror game you want, Adam.
Is it? Maybe. Still not going to buy it.
Touch the Beat, $24.49.
No.
I thought you were going to say touch your meat instead. Light Brigade, the Light Brigade for $17.49.
That's probably a good price. It's probably worth it.
Math World VR for $11.24.
Do the math. Save your money.
Peaky Blinders, the King's
Dude,
Ransom
how many
Complete.
more do we got?
Dude, we're almost done. Peaky Blinders
Peaky
for $14.99. Seventh Guest VR, $23.99.
No.
Arizona Sunshine, $39.99.
No.
Another Fisherman's Tale, $19.99.
No.
Synapse, $27.99.
Yes.
And Ghostbusters Slimer Hunt, $29.99.
Slimer will visit me at night in my bed. Next.
All right. This is the end. That's it, bitches, for Play PSVR 2, the podcast. Quite possibly the realest, the grittiest, and easily the best PSVR 2 content you can find. Thank you for joining us this week. And you know what? Why don't you actually thank us for bringing the steaming content your way? Give us a comment on YouTube. Email us at contact@playpsvr.com. I love you. See you later. Good night. For Adam, I'm Alex's Blammo.
Blammo!